What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having an amazing day. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the difference between an NBA player and a pro. I know if you watch my videos, you hear me say this a lot, and I wanted to make a video explaining the difference. Now let's just get right into it. Now the first thing I want to look at is let's look at all the teams that have the bona fide players that they're building around. So Celtics obviously they do. Nets they don't really. So let's count. That's one. Knicks, they got Brunson, they got Barrett, they got Randall. I would say they have their people to try to build around. 76ers got Embiid. Raptors, they got Pascal, but I'm sure they would look at taking somebody else. But overall, it's just one right now. Bulls, they're in a weird situation right now. They got Levine, DeMar. Um, but I wouldn't count them as somebody that's like looking for somebody to build around. Cavs, obviously not. Pistons, they got Cade. Pacers, they got Halliburton. Bucks, Giannis, obviously. Hawks, Trey. Hornets, they got LaMelo. Heat, Jimmy. Magic, Paulo. Wizards. Now, Wizards, I wouldn't really say they have anybody, so that's the second team. Nuggets, obviously not. Minnesota, they got Ant, Thunder. Thunder got a lot of players, to be honest. I love Jalen Williams, but obviously Shea. Trailblazers, Dame, and then they got Anthony Simons. Jazz, I wouldn't say they have anybody that they're building around. Warriors, obviously. Clippers, obviously. Lakers, LeBron, all that good stuff. Suns, obviously. Kings, Fox, and Sabonis. Mavericks, obviously. Luka. Rockets, I would say Sengun and Green. So I wouldn't quite count them. Grizzlies, obviously, Ja. Pelicans, Brandon Ingram, and Zion. And Spurs, I wouldn't say have anybody. So that is only three teams that don't have players that they're looking to build their team around. So obviously that's the first thing to look at, because a lot of people are so ball dominant nowadays, and most of these teams already have ball dominant players that they're looking to build around. So as players come into the league and get better and better, it's going to be harder for these players to actually get a shot, because a lot of these teams have such young players that they're already building around. So uh, I'm going to look at Sharif Cooper. This is just an example. Sharif Cooper is a phenomenal basketball player, but I'm just using him as an example because you see here, obviously didn't get a lot of opportunity, only 3 minutes, but you see here 21% and 16% from three. Just it wasn't obviously it doesn't look good, but he is a professional basketball player. I can say that with ease. You see here in the G League, he's killing. 31% from three, averaging 22, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. Like, he is killing in the G League. So I think he is a great example of a professional basketball player, but it's hard for him to find his spot in the NBA because he is so small, and teams don't really want to build around a super small point guard. Um, they don't really want to do that anymore. The Hawks, which is funny because he was backing with Trae Young, they're doing it with Trae Young, but there's just not a lot of teams that want to do that. And it's unfortunate part of the game. Now I want to look at Zach Edey. He's going to Purdue, averaging 22, 13, and 13 rebounds, shooting 61% from the field. Now, he is a 7'4". I think he's like 7'5", but 7'4", almost 300-pound big man who is a phenomenal basketball player. Might lead Purdue to NCAA championship. Who knows? But right now they're a top 10 team. I think they're ranked 5th if I'm not mistaken. As I'm recording this, we could see. Oh, it doesn't show it, but I believe they're 5th right now. And he is a very good basketball player. But the thing is I don't think he would last in the NBA, because what teams in the NBA are wanting to feed a big man down low, letting them go to work? If we look at the teams, if we go back, there's probably only two of them. 76ers with Joel, and honestly, where's the Nuggets? The Nuggets, there they are. The Nuggets with Jokic. Those are the only two teams that would really, feed down low, or the Kings. The Kings would do that too, or the Warriors, but you have to be able to be a passing big man. So you have to be a certain type of big man to do that. But besides that, there's not many teams that would want to feed a big man and tell him, go to work. So, but wherever he goes overseas, he's going to make a lot of money because he is a phenomenal basketball player. It's just NBA teams don't want to do that. That's nothing against him. It's just you have to be able to fit in today's NBA. Now, one of my favorite point guards I've ever watched before is Mike James. I absolutely love Mike James. You see here, his stats are very good. He is one of the best point guards I've ever watched before, but he is a smaller point guard that NBA teams wouldn't want to build their whole team around, which is understandable. But he is a pro and has made a lot of money overseas because he is a very good basketball player, and he has shown it. Now let's look at the standings. I'm gonna look at all the contending teams. I would say we might have different opinions on contenders, but if we look at the Boston Celtics and we could go to their roster. We're gonna see two ball dominant players in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But if you see the rest of their roster, it's just a bunch of role players. And this is one of the teams I've heard people say they think are going to win the finals or at least go to the finals. I think they're the favorites to go to the finals. But their team isn't just a bunch of, bucket getters. It's the same thing with the Bucks. They have Giannis, and then they have a secondary player, Chris Middleton, and then a bunch of role players. Now we go to the West. We look at these teams: Nuggets, Jamal Murray. Some people wouldn't say he's a role player, but he has a role, and that's to get buckets. And then the star player in Jokic, Grizzlies, star player in Ja Morant, with a bunch of very good role players. So you're going to see that 98% of the NBA are just very good role players. So, the NBA is just a bunch of role players with very minimal amount of superstar. Well, obviously there's a bunch of superstars nowadays, but most of the NBA, they want two or three superstars and then very good role players. You've seen with the Lakers, it didn't work out when they had three stars with AD, LeBron, and Russ. And then you see the same thing with the Nets. Obviously, the Nets weren't healthy, but they had KD, they had James Harden, they had Kyrie. It didn't work out. So what are teams going to? They're going to role players. So that's my main difference between role players and actual pros. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with being a pro overseas. There's a lot of money people get overseas. And if you make any type of money playing basketball, you're a great basketball player because not a lot of people are able to do that, especially people that, have dreams and aspirations to play in the NBA. If you ever step foot on an NBA court, congratulations to you because that is a huge accomplishment. But that's just the main differences between NBA players and professional players. There's no knock on pros at all. I'm telling you, this video might seem like there's a knock on, not being an NBA player. There's absolutely no knock. If you're a professional basketball player, congratulations to you. But I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm catching you guys next time. Peace.